Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please, Veronica.
Ms. Casper-Brett.
Here.
Mr. Coleman.
Here.
Mr. Gray. Mr. Gray.
I'm here, Sandy.
Mr. Guzman.
Here.
Ms. Hyde.
Here.
Mr. Murphy.
Here.
Ms. Ori.
Here.
Okay, I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments. Did you see any late arrivers, Denise?
Nope, no public comments.
Thank you. I don't have any addition of non-action items, so on to action items. Item A, the final reading and approval of board policies. Can I
Okay.
get a motion on the floor?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the board policies, the final reading of board policies as presented.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, can we pull 6-220, which is it's an error on the title, so we can redo that one and do it next week. The one under it says bring your own technology. It's about bring your own technology, and we don't have that program, so we don't even need that particular policy. So that's just a mix-up from the old policy to the new policy. Sometimes they renumber them and retitle them. So
I see.
the other one, 5330, I'd like to present an amendment that reflects the language in the PSRP agreement. That's and I will pull that up.
About election day.
No, this isn't about election day. This is about vacation. It's sort of. It's about vacations, holidays. Okay, here's the amendment to reflect the collective bargaining agreement. What we had up there was from press, and it was just a placeholder where they put in the vacation days because they don't. Every district is different in Illinois, so we took the language out of our collective bargaining and put it into the policy so that they're the same. Now, at the top, in case we miss anything that's of importance, at the top it does say that to the extent that it does not conflict with applicable collective bargaining agreements or individual employment contracts or benefit plans, in the event of a conflict, such provision is severable and the applicable bargaining agreement or individual agreement will control. So when there is a conflict, if we miss something and as things change over the years, we go to the collective bargaining agreement between the board and the union. I just wanted to point that out. We just don't want to create any more confusion than is necessary on some of these issues.
I think making it as specific as possible is the best policy, and yeah, it's hard to see how that.
Right.
Does anybody have a question or a concern about that?
No, my only question is, do I need to amend the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Can I please amend the motion to approve the board policies except for policy 6-220? And I'd like to include the amendment for policy 5-330.
Second.
Any more discussion on this? And all in favor?
Aye.
That is roll call.
That's roll call.
All of them are roll call when we're remote.
Isn't it only if there's a question? This is likely to be. Is that a law?
It's not a law. It's a recommendation.
Oh, okay.
No, you can do it. Yeah, you're right.
This just seems pretty safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Sorry.
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the motion carries, the item's approved. On to, item B. Can I get a
I'd like
motion on-
to, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the purchase of a mower in the amount of $10,670.
Second.
Okay, discussion on this? Steve, could you please remind?
This
Folks,
is
briefly.
to replace the mower. We have a mower now that's about 13 or 14 years old, and basically the engine is blown. So it was going to cost about $6,000 to repair it, or we can get a new one for a little less than $11,000. So my recommendation is to buy the new one.
Does anybody have questions about this? Okay. Roll call please, Veronica.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Gray, Mr. Gray,
Yes.
Mr. Guziak,
Yes.
Ms. I,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Ori,
Yes.
Ms. Casper Trent.
Yes. Okay, that item carries. On to item C, approval for the purchase. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the purchase of a new copier at MES in the amount of $11,285.
Second.
Okay, we've talked about this quite a bit, but Steve, if you could please, sorry, Dr. Jones.
It's okay.
I'm so used to
Hey,
being just in this
we're
room.
much more relaxed in COVID environment. Basically, this is, I think the last time I showed you a chart that showed the number of copies and the number of repair calls for each of the different copiers. The one that we're looking to replace is the one that has the most copies and the most number of repairs. We have two others that are close to that. And one of the things that after the last meeting I wanted to check on, and I did talk with Techstar about it. And, you know, we're going on, is it 6 years? 2014 is when we did our last RFP. And we're still paying the same cost per copy as we paid for our initial 5-year agreement. So we're like a year or two past that 5-year agreement. In talking with the sales rep, if we're willing to work with them and get some of these copiers out of our system, you know, get replacements for them, then they'll be able to maintain that same copy cost going forward, at least for the next year or two. So, you know, in that respect, when I looked at what we paid before we did the RFP and what we've been paid since 2014, you know, we're really still getting a very good deal. And then we're also getting about a $32,000 copier for a little over $11,000. Although this is like a demonstrator, so it's been used slightly, but still has warranty and everything else with it. So I'm real happy with the ability to do this. And then it also has PostScript, which is another, I think, $1,200 feature that's added on to this one already.
Awesome. Well, thanks for going the extra mile to get us the best deal. You know, does anybody have, is there any discussion on this item? Any questions at all about the copier? Okay, roll call please, Veronica.
Mr. Gray,
Yes.
Mr. Guziak,
Yes.
Ms. I,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Ori,
Yes.
Ms. Casper Trent,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. The item passes on to item D, approval of PSRP.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the PSRP MOU regarding Election Day holiday.
Second.
Dr. Lee, could you please just recap this quickly so folks know what we're voting?
Yes, so this has to do with the governor declaring, well, not the governor, the legislation making a law that had the general election day of November 3rd as a state holiday, official state holiday, and it went into the school code as a school holiday. And so school employees, it was a non-attendance day for students, which means that teachers don't work that day and paraprofessionals don't work that day. But it's also a state holiday, so anybody else who's a 12-month employee gets that day off. Well, that doesn't, the way that the contract is set up for 12-month employees, they would get the day off, and by school code, by definition. With our paraprofessionals, they are more like teachers in that they have a set number of days that they work each year, so they don't automatically get that day off. And since the days off are already labeled or counted in the contract, we don't have the authority as the administration, we don't have the authority to pay that day as a paid holiday. So we're asking the board to do a memorandum of understanding for this day to give them a paid holiday, if that makes complete sense.
It does, because we've discussed this a couple times, right?
Yes.
So does anybody have any discussion, any questions about this?
Just one comment, not really a question. Since these items end up being part of the public record, there's people that may read this that don't know what PSRP is or what an MOU is. And somehow, some way that should probably be spelled out. I mean, when we talk about it, it's fine. But again, this being part of the public record, a lot of, I would imagine most people won't know what any of that is.
Oh, so you're saying, so on the board agenda, Jim?
Well, yeah. And I guess this is just an example. And I guess we all have a tendency to do that. We all speak the same language, but anybody else reading this would, or being interested in it, if there is anyone that, when we, talk in abbreviations and acronyms and stuff, it might not be very clear.
That's a
Got
great
it.
reminder, Jim.
Yep.
And that's something we should all be mindful of. I think that's great, because that's something that used to confuse me. In fact, when I did the board training, I made sure to include all the acronyms I could think of so that, new members wouldn't be completely, but I agree with you on that, Jim. I think that's a great point to bring up.
Got
it.
Just a comment.
Yep,
Yeah, no,
it's good.
It's a good one. Okay, are there any other questions or any more discussion on this? Okay. Roll call please then, Veronica.
Mr. Buziak?
Yes.
Ms. I?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Ori?
Yes.
Ms. Casvon Latourette?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Okay, the item passes. On to item E. I'd like to move that we approve the consent agenda as presented, which includes the treasurer's report and approval, bill approval and payment authorization, the activity account, personnel report, and that's it.
Second.
Does anybody have anything they'd like to pull out for independent discussion?
Is that resignation under item E or no?
Yes.
Okay. I guess just a question on that. I mean, isn't this someone that we very recently hired?
Yes, but she never completed any of her paperwork. And she didn't respond to any requests we had for her to come in and do that. So as a result, we need to show her either as a termination or resignation, since she didn't follow through and take the job.
Okay.
She indicated that she would, and so we hired her, and then We didn't get any paperwork or anything after that, or any contact.
Okay, so it's like the position. So it's like the position was offered, but just not fully accepted, something along those lines.
Offered and accepted, but without the background check or any of the tax documents or any of the other paperwork required, then we can't really have her work.
Oh, sure. No, okay. All right. Thanks.
She just hasn't responded to anything?
No.
Okay,
She's sick or
she
something?
pieced out. Yep. Does anybody have any other questions about this? Okay, then roll call please, Veronica.
Ms. I,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Lori,
Yes.
Ms. Castillo-Terrett,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Gray, Mr. Gray, Mr. Buziak,
Yes.
Mr. Gray,
He dropped. I think he's having connection
Okay. All right, then we'll just. move past
issues.
him. All right. The motion passes. On to the information and discussion items. The remote learning update. Dr. Lake.
Okay, we're starting to discuss. We know we are in a remote learning environment completely until winter break, so for the next 3 weeks. And hopefully numbers will continue to come down and people will get healthy, and hopefully we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. But it's ongoing discussion about when to bring students back and what groups of students to bring back after winter break if we can safely do so. So those discussions are starting. We have made no decisions at this time, but just wanted to let the board know that we're still considering all options and want to are anxious to bring the kids back. Let's just say that. But now is definitely not the time. It's pretty. There's a lot going around, so it would not be wise at this time, but we will continue to watch that. The numbers are coming down slightly, but they're still, the new cases are significant. Significant community spread.
Well, and I have to say, after I'm worried about the Black Friday weekend and all the Thanksgiving travel and everything.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're gonna see a spike in
Yeah.
about a week or two.
Right. It was starting to the numbers were starting to come down. They're still insanely high, but starting to come down, but then we'll see what happens now with people getting together for Thanksgiving. So I don't.
Just looking at that mall parking lot thinking,
We will
That's-
see.
that's a little upsetting.
That's all I have at this time.
How are the teachers feeling about their ability to get through the material in general?
I would. I have not talked to teachers about that for the last few weeks, so I would. It's been pretty quiet and pretty calm, and with last week being off and conferences shortly before that, it's been kind of a different time. So the principals may know, and the assistant principals
I'm
would
sure
have a
they
better
do.
picture of that.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. What I'm looking to do is do some thought exchanges coming up, so watch for those on a variety of topics, but really start this, get feedback from parents and teachers about are there any adjustments we need to make for the next semester. Because we will be remote learning for some kids for sure. Probably, well, I know for the rest of the year. So I know the principals put out a survey before Thanksgiving break asking parents to, if they wanted to change and flip their kids from remote learning to in-person. Should we be able to come back to in-person? Because we asked parents in July to commit to a semester at a time because there's a lot of adjustments. So I don't have the results of those surveys yet. We'll find out tomorrow. So we're starting to plan again for after winter break and what we'll be doing for the rest of the year. We're starting to talk about summer school. We're starting to talk about next year. We're, things keep moving. It's slow and it's fast at the same time, and at how the pace of school goes. So, yeah, that's all I've got for an update. Unless there's any questions I can answer for the board.
Any questions, anyone? Okay, I'm gonna take that dead silence as a no. On to item B, board appointment process. So this will be my last meeting on the Millburn Board of Education. So there is a process by which I will resign. I'm being sworn into the Lake County Board, and they're incompatible offices. So I will resign sometime before December 7th formally and sign that stuff, and then you guys will appoint a new member, but the next meeting will be a reorganization meeting where you will elect a new president and you'll move forward from there. Does that make sense? Is there anything I missed?
Nope. So Denise as vice president would assume as soon as the resignation, whatever day that is, which will be whichever day you choose. It could be tonight, whenever you send the letter. At that point, Denise, by board policy, would take over the duties as president until the board reorganization. We choose another president.
So she'll be president.
She'll be
pro tem,
acting
sort of,
president.
yeah,
Acting president.
president until you guys decide. You guys have the election and decide who's going to be president, and then the new president will take over the meeting.
Correct.
Assuming it's, well, it's not what it is, but yes, because so you guys will do that very next meeting, and we'll start. We started with Denise. Does anybody have any questions about that?
I can add a little bit about the process itself, and just to remind people what the process is like. Mrs. Ori was the last board member to go through that process and join our board. We will have, Veronica has a letter ready she's going to send out this week or tomorrow, asking for the community to say there's been a resignation on the board, or whenever we can, whenever Krista sends a letter. We'll send that letter out immediately. We'll notify the Regional Office of Education that there's an opening, and then we'll ask our community members to submit their resume, just a brief resume and letter of interest. It doesn't even have to be a letter. It can just be an email saying, here's my experience. If you have a resume, great, send that. But just a letter of introduction. Here's who I am and why I want to be on the board, and go from there. And you can send it to the school board address or to my address, and I send it on to the board. And we'll collect those, and they're due by December 10th, I believe, which is a Thursday, next Thursday. And then that following Monday, we have a board meeting. That's when the board will go into closed session and review all the resumes and then determine if they would like to proceed with interviews. Last time we did have interviews, an interview process in person. This time it would likely be a Zoom interview process in closed session, and I'm happy to facilitate that, and that could actually work out pretty nicely. And then from there, make a choice. Then at the January first meeting in January, we have to make the appointment because we have 45 days to fill that spot. So that would be the first meeting in January would be a special board meeting, and we would have closed session to either do interviews and then immediately following those interviews make an appointment, and then we'd have a new board member. So that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. And I would just say, encourage people, if you have friends, to apply. As far as qualifications go, I think people always think you have to have, some sort of business or finance or
No,
something like
don't.
that. And what you need is to have a passion for public education. You have to really care about this district and its success. And to put those two things above anything else. So, that's really biggest qualification. So, okay. Any further comments on that or questions about the board appointment process?
Well, I'll take this opportunity, Chris, if you don't mind. Typically, we have a plaque. We didn't get it ordered in time, so we're working on that. But to thank you for your service, but I thank you for your service. 6 years?
5.5.
5.5 years of board service, and lots of long meetings, 2 negotiations, 2 very long negotiations with the union, and a lot of time put into this. So I appreciate your volunteer efforts and the passion and intelligence and thought that you brought to the board. So really appreciate that, and you'll be missed.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very bittersweet for me. But I'll say that this board and this district have given me much more than I could have ever given. Serving this district is a huge honor for me. I've always loved this district, and just the opportunity that you all have given me to grow and become a better person, and to learn about leadership, to learn about governance, to learn about service. It's been an incredible opportunity for me, and I would encourage anybody who is even a little interested to ask some questions and get involved, because it truly is an honor. You really are a part of something that's much bigger and much better than yourself, and it's so inspiring to be among our administration and our staff who are so dedicated, so intelligent, so great at what they do. We have the best here, and so it's been an honor and a privilege for me to I feel like anything that I wanted to achieve as a board member, it's because I wanted to be as good as our staff and our administration. So thanks for inspiring me to want to do well. So thank you. Okay.
Thank you, and good luck.
Hey, Chris, sorry, there's no real good time to butt in with the Zoom, but I definitely want to congratulate you on your new seat, and then also, thank you for being an outstanding steward of the board and very receptive and generous with your knowledge to new members such as myself. Not that long ago. So thank you, and best of luck going forward.
Thank you, Stephen. Future agenda items include the press policy updates, district goals. Well, we did district goals, so we can cross that off actually. Board self-governance goals. that we can actually press that up too, because I think we did that and there's not really a lot of governance. Well, you guys can do some goals based on what's available this year. It'll take some creativity, so we can leave the self-governance goals on it. Review of board agreements, yes. Superintendent evaluation tool, that's done, we just need to look at it and approve it. And then revised policy 460, purchases and contracts. Does anybody have anything to add at this point? Okay. If you do have anything to add, you'll have to email Jason.
Or Denise.
Yes. Or Denise. On to the superintendent report.
I don't have a ton to add. I'll be attending a CEDAW board governance, governing board meeting of CEDAW on Wednesday night. That's upcoming. And I think that's about it. We're really trying to gear up, finish this. We've got about 5 weeks left in this semester of school. And so trying to gear up, end the semester strong, and then start the next semester strong, and make any adjustments we need to the remote learning plan to get our kids, keep our kids connected and families connected, which is a huge challenge. That's it.
All right. On the business office report, Dr. Johns.
The only thing that we haven't really talked about is the holiday meal distribution because we were off for an entire week. We did both a 4-day pack as well as a 7-day pack of food for the students that attend here. And in that period, Thursday and Friday, and prior to the fall break, we distributed 2,600 meals.
Wow.
Which is huge. You know, it was interesting. Some of them only got the 4-day pack, others of them chose to get both. Some of them only got the 7-day pack, but it is one of those things as we get further and further into this, and you look at what's happening with the unemployment rate and everything else, no real new federal dollars available for people. I think we're going to continue to see more and more people needing this type of assistance as we move into, until things start to get better, which hopefully will be, in the next 6 months. But it's, first we thought it was only going to be 2 or 3 weeks, and then now here we are, 6 or 7 months later, and we're still not even close to being out of it. So it is something that I'm very happy that we're able to do, and this is actually something that is federal dollars that are helping fund this. So basically, it is federal dollars that are paying for this. So that is the one thing that is still out there that's something that will help keep kids from being hungry.
Well, I speak for the rest of the board when I say how grateful I am that you have basically created this program, with no prior experience in delivering Meals on Wheels to people. So I saw in the news that there 15 million Americans are food insecure right now. It's horrifying.
We did get some lighter weight, soft-sided coolers to put the milk in, because actually to get it in the bus, they actually have to lift it over the seats. So initially we couldn't get the soft-sided coolers that we were looking at, so we ended up getting regular coolers. So we're probably going to need to purchase some additional ones as well. But everybody's been a trooper, and they make it work. So that's what's important.
I just bring you food the boy.
Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Johns about the business report or the meal program, or this is your moment? much, Dr. Johns. On to board reports.
I just wanted to thank you, Carissa, for all of your dedication to the board and for challenging us and being so encouraging and supporting of the district, the administration. It's just been a tremendous honor being on the board with you, and I just wish you the best of luck. I know that all of Lake County is going to be better off with you on the board.
Thanks, Denise. Denise and I started on the.
Yep, congratulations, Carissa, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
Yes, Carissa, I'd just like to say thank you so much for your dedication, your hard work, and for being such an inspiration to the board and demonstrating leadership in so many facets. So as a new member, as mentioned earlier, it was very welcoming and refreshing to be a part of something that there was so much passion for. So thank you for your leadership and congratulations on the next chapter.
Thank you, Audrey. Okay, goodness. All right. We don't have closed session, do we?
Nope.
All right. If we have further business, I'd like to move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Good night.